Hi everyone, my name is Janey. I'm from the YouTube channel Dig, Plant, Water, Repeat. Welcome to my garden. I'm so excited to show you all around today. First off, I want to introduce Monty Dawn, the dog. He is a golden that's about 1.5 years old, and he acts like he's still a puppy. So you guys will probably see him running around in this video a little bit, trying to get a ball thrown for him. So we moved into this property just shy of 2 years ago. There was absolutely nothing here. It was completely flat. It was covered in mulch. And as a gardener, I couldn't let that stay that way for very long. So even before we moved in, I was here and I was gardening and I was putting plants in. So you can see right behind me, this is what I call my center island. And this is actually this year's project. We added a dry creek bed just so that when we do have our winter rains, all of the water can go to the dry creek bed and slowly seep back down into my water table because we are on well here. And then we added a gazebo at the end of the dry creek bed, which we love sitting on and having our coffee. My 2 daughters go out and they hang out there after school, and we just really enjoy this area. I have a line of plants with proven winners called Best for the West, and they are a collection of plants that do really well for our environment. That is hot, dry summers. And this shrub that I'm going to show you in just a second is just the epitome of a plant that can handle our hot, dry summers and look really beautiful doing it. This plant right here is called El Nino Chitalpa. It is such a fabulous, fast-growing shrub. This guy, if you can believe it, is actually a baby. I'm 5'7", so you can see it's 6 foot tall already, and it's only been in here for a year. It's gonna get up to 9 to 10 feet tall and 9 to 10 feet wide. You can leave it as a shrub, or you can prune it up to a small tree, and it has these beautiful blooms on it that almost look like orchids or even snapdragons, and they have a beautiful smell to it. So you can find this at Green Acres. They're all over at Green Acres right now during this season because they are in full bloom and they're such a great addition to your garden. So all around the gazebo here, I went with kind of a purple and white and almost like a silver scheme to it. You can see that I have some Super Venus Stormburst. Again, this is from Proven Winners. You will see a ton of Proven Winners in my property. For a little bit of depth of color, I have some Supertunia Royal Velvet. I have some Diamond Frost Euphorbia here, which is a heat lover, and it gives that really kind of fairy-like ethereal look. It's really beautiful. And then one of my absolute favorite Supertunias is Supertunia Bordeaux. There's just something special about this plant. Everybody loves it. It becomes everyone's favorite plant. It just has that gorgeous color to it where it's purple, but also almost a little pink plum. So it really can mix with everything. And then of course, I've got some staple plants in here. This one is a Chandler Cypress. This one is from Isley Nursery. Really fun. I have a ginkgo, American ginkgo over here. And then I gotta show you this guy over here. This is called a Rising Sun Redbud. I actually got this from Green Acres. It is so beautiful. And the new foliage that comes out all season long is almost like a sunrise. And it's so beautiful. I have 2 of them. And this plant is just the most beautiful foliage that I've seen. And then it's a redbud. So during the spring, it has these beautiful pink blooms to it. This is a fabulous tree. This is a baby. It's gonna get 10 feet tall. It is quite a specimen in your garden. So I love grasses in my garden. Grasses are so beautiful. They give such a gorgeous texture. And you have to remember, you can leave grasses up over the winter and it gives you some beautiful winter interest as they brown out. One of my favorite grasses is Niagara Falls Panicum. It has the most interesting blue color to it. It's a silvery blue color to it. I love the shape and the texture, but one of my favorite things that's just starting to show its blooms right now. These are its seed heads, and pretty soon it's going to be absolutely covered with this kind of frilly, soft texture that is going to stay all winter long. So I absolutely love this grass. If you can get your hands on it, get your hands on it. It's called Niagara Falls panicum. So this garden bed right here is my purple and orange garden bed. This is actually the first garden bed that I planted in this garden, even before we moved our furniture into this house. I absolutely love it. First, let me show you though, this plant. This plant, when I find it at Green Acres, I try and buy all of them. Yeah, I'm that person that clears out the shelves. This is called Helen von Stein lamb's ear, otherwise known as big leaf lamb's ear. It is just like a regular lamb's ear. It has that gorgeous soft texture to it. But you can see the leaves are so much bigger than a regular lamb's ear. My kids love this, and then you can also cut this and use this in flower arrangements, and it gives the most interesting texture to your bouquets. So my purple and orange garden is the first garden bed that I planted in the property, even before we moved our furniture in. I was so excited to get these plants in. I love the combination of purple and orange. I think they just pop off of each other. They're complementary colors, and I just think they make such a huge impact in your garden. So I have orange blaze Kniphofia, which is actually part of my Best for the West collection. They are so incredibly beautiful and so interesting. Hummingbirds love these guys. If you come out here and it's quiet, you will find hummingbirds all over the Kniphofia, as well as this plant behind me, which is called Chiclet Orange Tacoma. It's an Esperanza, and it blooms non-stop. Once it starts blooming in May, it will bloom all the way till December for me. I love, love, love this shrub. It's very similar to an orange trumpet vine, but trumpet vines can sometimes take over. They get huge. This plant will actually stay 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide, so it's a much more compact version, but you still get that beautiful look of the orange trumpet flowers. And then of course, underneath that, to separate the orange, I have more of the denim and lace Russian sage. This guy, you just can't beat. It is so beautiful. It gives such a pop of purple, perfect complementary color to the other two oranges. So layering is super important in your garden. You want to have different levels. You want to have some short things. You want to have some fillers, and then you want to have some really big thrillers. And you can see my cardoon right behind me. That's a thriller if I've ever seen a thriller. Here is one of my favorite fillers. This is Royal Raspberry Agastache. It is such a beautiful, beautiful Agastache, otherwise known as hyssop, and the pollinators absolutely love it. Down here, you can see that I line my pathways. I have gravel pathways with metal edging, and then I line it with what's called lemon coral sedum. And it's really an interesting plant because it's so bright. It's such a chartreuse green. I like to say that it's almost runway lights on like an airport runway. It just lights up the pathway and makes it so that you just want to walk down and see what's around the next curve. Come on this way, let's see the next thing. So this planting is kind of fun. You can't tell, but I have this beautiful metal tutor that I got from Green Acres, and this Thunbergia or black-eyed Susan vine has completely covered it. But like I was saying, one of my favorite combinations in the garden is orange and purple. And so I have the orange black-eyed Susan vine, combine that with one of my favorite plants, if not my favorite plant, which is Plain the Blues Salvia from Proven Winners. This plant is absolutely incredible because it will keep blooming all season long. You can see I'm in a little bit more shade than out into my center island, and this plant can handle more shade. It won't bloom as much as it will in full sun, but you can see it's still blooming. And if you're a lazy gardener like I am, you don't have to deadhead it because the calyxes where the blooms come off, they're bluish purple as well. So once all the flowers, fade off and drop off, you can still pretend like you've got blooms on this plant and nobody will know. Right underneath that, I have a yarrow, and yarrow is one of those really great plants that have an extensive root system and can handle the heat of our summers. This one is called Firefly Fuchsia Yarrow, and you can see I am a sucker for pink in my garden. I love it, and when I found a pink yarrow, I had to have it. All right, so this is the front of my house. This is kind of the big showstopper, what I call my Zig Zag planter. And let me show you a before shot of what this planter looked like when we moved into this house. And I immediately thought I was gonna rip out this planter because I didn't want it. But what I did is I planted in it first, and now I've grown to love the Zig Zag planter. This is my Zig Zag planter that I think is gone a little overboard this year. I planted it with Supertunia Tiara Pink. This is a new variety of Supertunia from Proven Winners, and it is showing off like no other. So it's a bright, beautiful, saturated pink fuchsia color, but the cool thing about the Tiara series is it has a white throat to it, so it almost makes the bloom glow, which is so fun. Then in between, I planted some Gara. This is Stratosphere Pink Gara, which is really beautiful, but if you can believe it, the Supertunias are actually taking over from the Gara. This one right here, this is called a Totem Pole Panicum Grass. We're only in about June right now, but this guy by the end of the season is gonna get 6 feet tall, if you can believe it. It's a really, really cool grass, and I think it's gonna stand up to the Tiara Pink. Behind my Zig Zag planter, I have my hanging baskets. If you all can't tell, I do love pink. I love pink in the garden. I love color, but pink is my favorite. These guys, they're filled with some more Supertunias. This is called the Vista View recipe from Proven Winners. It has Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, which is the OG, my favorite Supertunia. It's the one that got me started in gardening because it's so easy to grow. And then we have Supertunia Vista Jazzberry and Supertunia Vista Whiteout, and excuse me, Snowdrift. And then my thriller on top is another Stratosphere Gara, but this is the white version that I absolutely love. So to keep hanging baskets looking good, you have to water them. Hanging baskets will dry out so quickly, so I actually have hooked these up to drip irrigation, which is great for the hanging basket, not so great for my deck underneath because the water drains through. So what I've decided to do this year is I actually put another container right underneath my hanging basket. So the water that comes out of the hanging basket drips down into this container that has Supertunia Royal Velvet, Superbina Stormburst, and then some Senecio Angel Wings. This container is not hooked up to any water. The only water it gets is the water that drips out of the hanging basket. So double bang for your buck, right? So let me take you into the back garden, but first let me show you what I like to call my secret garden. I have made this living wall of Clematis armandii. I absolutely love it, and I actually got these welded wire panels and arch from Green Acres. On my YouTube channel, this is probably one of the most common questions I get is, where did I get this living wall? Where did I get these wire arches? And I got them from Green Acres. So what it is it's actually one panel right here, the arch right here, and then another panel off to the other side. And what I did is I put a piece of rebar across the top for stability, and then I just tied them all together with some wire. Super easy living wall, and then you can grow any vining plant up it. All right, welcome to my back garden. This is my little office that I do a lot of my editing in for my YouTube channel. And this area in my garden is one of my favorites. I live in a California ranch home, which is very common here. It's a very common style home here in California. But the purpose of a California ranch, they almost curve backwards and enclose the back garden so that the family who lives there hangs out and spends a lot of their time in the back garden, which is exactly what I've done here. So my back garden is what I like to call my working garden. I have a lot of these beds back here that I have planted cut flowers in, which I'm absolutely obsessed. I love cutting my own flowers and making bouquets to put around my home. Now these beds are really interesting because they look like raised beds, but they're actually not. They're actually called no-till beds. What I did is I put down layers of cardboard over my native soil, and then I layered about 6 inches of compost compost on top. And I just used these metal beds to hold the compost in. And the idea of that is that the plants will actually extend their roots deep down into my native soil, and they'll be healthier and they'll be happier. And it's worked really, really well for me. So what I've planted back here, I have 8 beds, and I have flowers, flowers upon flowers upon flowers. One of my favorite cut flowers to grow is zinnias, of course. Zinnias are the ultimate cut and come again flower. The more you cut on those, the more they will grow. So I will find myself coming out here multiple times a week, cutting on these zinnias to take into my home. I absolutely love them. There is no rhyme or reason to what variety of zinnias I planted in here. I just took a whole bunch of seed packets, mixed them together, and spread them out into these 2 front beds. So I'm gonna make a bouquet for my home today, and I'm gonna start off with these zinnias. Now, for those of you who don't know, cutting zinnias for bouquets, you gotta do the wobble test. To know if a zinnia is ready to cut to have in a cut flower arrangement, what you wanna do is you wanna grab onto that stem with your fingers and you wanna wobble it. If you see the flower wobble its head a little too much like this, then you know it's not ready. And if I cut this zinnia and put it into a vase, it's gonna flop over and it's not gonna be happy. But if I take another zinnia like this, and you can see the head doesn't wobble, it's a little bit stiffer, I know this zinnia is ready to cut and ready to go in my bouquet. All right, here's my haul of zinnias that I just harvested from my zinnia patch. I love these colors. Like I was saying, I love saturated colors. I can't get over it. And I love how big these zinnias are. All of these varieties of zinnias that I chose here, these are all Benari's giant zinnias. And those are fabulous varieties of zinnias because they're so big, they almost look like dahlias, but they're not quite dahlias. Let me show you my dahlia patch over here. So these dahlias, these are the dahlias that you want to have in your cut flower garden. These dahlias were all grown from tubers. Actually, some of them were grown from seed last year, but they developed tubers. And these are the tall dahlias that you want to have that you can cut on. Nice big stems. They're so beautiful. There's something about dahlias that are just absolutely gorgeous. So some of my favorite ones are these big white ones here. I actually got these as a gift from a friend, so I don't know the name of it, but they're just so beautiful. And just like the zinnias, they're cut and come again. And what that means is the more I cut on these dahlias, the more they're gonna bloom for me and the more dahlias I'm gonna have over the season. And I love cutting a dahlia when I can get the different stages of the bloom. You can see right here, I have a bud that's just starting to open up. I have a smaller one over here, and then I have a really mature one over here. This is so easy to just put into a bouquet, and it gives so much life. This is really all you need. You put this in a little vase and you're done. That's your arrangement. So this is my sunflower bed. I love having sunflowers. To me, they just scream summer. But I have to have only a particular kind of sunflowers in my garden, and that is a branching sunflower. You can get a single stem sunflower, you can plant it from seed, it'll grow up and it'll get one bloom on it. As soon as you cut that bloom, that plant is done. I just don't think that that's worth it. I wanna have a sunflower that is going to bloom, and then if I cut off that bloom, it's gonna branch and it's gonna produce more sunflowers. So much better for me, someone who likes to cut blooms for bouquets. I want to have branching sunflowers in my garden. This variety right here, I love this variety. This is called a buttercream sunflower. Look at how beautiful that buttery color is of the petals. I just think it looks so beautiful, and I think it looks gorgeous in my flower arrangements. Another flower I love having in my cut flower garden is called Rudbeckia. This is an interesting variety. It's called Prairie Sun. And instead of having a dark eye like normal Rudbeckia, it has a light green eye, which I just think is so interesting and so beautiful. So Rudbeckia is very similar to a sunflower. It looks very similar, but it is so beautiful. And these blooms are going to keep going through fall, and they're going to be gorgeous in your fall arrangements. So finally in my back garden, I have my greenhouse. I love my greenhouse, especially during the fall and winter when it starts raining, hanging out here with my girls, having a hot cup of tea with the rain pattering on the roof. And one of my favorite things to do is to plant up a moon garden. I have solar lights hanging above my cut flower garden, and those solar lights go on at night and they shine with the white of this moon garden. And it makes it look absolutely beautiful. And when you look out the window at night with the moon in the background and the solar lights, all of these white blooms glow. So I have some diamond frost euphorbia right here that's very ethereal. I call them fairy flowers. They're so beautiful. And then I have the big, the bold, the super tunias. You cannot beat super tunias. They're absolutely gorgeous. And these are called snowdrift, which I think is a very apt name for it because it does look like snow in the summer. I have some white iceberg roses behind here that I absolutely love. I got these from Green Acres. And then I have one of my favorite flowers this year. This is called Stratosphere White Gara, otherwise known as butterfly flower. And the bees and the butterflies absolutely love them. And I think of them as a little cloud, and my greenhouse is floating on a little cloud of Stratosphere White Gara flowers, and I just love it. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Green Acres for coming out to see my garden. Check out my YouTube channel, Dig, Plant, Water, Repeat, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.